Today's rock star guest, Paul Turner, on the mic today, fam, and I am stoked. He wants to help you break free from the garbage that stops you from getting to where you want to be in life by helping you with your mindset and your money. 3, 2, 1, it's go time.
Thank you for listening to the Freddy O Show, a podcast devoted to you, the listener, your purpose, your mindset, and your marketing efforts, designed to help you go to that next level. Now here's your host, Freddy O.
Oh yeah is right, because not only do we have an awesome guest today, but we have an awesome individual listening to today's show as well, and that is you. Yes, you. I want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to episode number 4 of the Freddy O Show. This is Freddy Owen, and now before I get to today's guest, I wanted to extend the invite to a brand new Facebook group I just started called the Funnel Mastery Alliance that was created to focus on funnel creation strategies, marketing ideas, lead generation, plus so much more. To join, all you have to do is go to winwithfred.com/FMA. Just answer a few simple questions and boom, we'll get you on the inside. So I'm looking forward to connecting with each and every one of you in the Facebook community. Also, you can access all podcast show notes from today's episode at winwithfred.com, so make sure you go ahead and do that as well. Now, today's guest, the first time I was able to listen to him and what he has to offer, I was sucked in. Okay, so all the way across the pond in Cornwall, the United Kingdom, we have the one and only Paul Turner. Welcome to the Freddy O Show, Paul. How are you? And I'm super pumped to have you on.
Well, I'm very excited to be here. You've popped my podcast cherry. This is the first podcast I've been on, so you've got the honor of taking that.
Thank you. So to get things rolling, first off, who is Paul Turner?
That's me.
Oh, boy.
That's enough. No, okay. So, who is Paul Turner? So, I am probably like a lot of people who, probably hate their jobs currently, but I really used to hate my job. I went to school, did what you usually do, fell into a job. I used to actually stack shelves in a supermarket. That's what I used to do. I kind of built my way up to a point where they were kind of getting rid of the job that I was aiming for. So I kind of had no career progression to get to. Long story cut short, I've sold mobile phones, done all sorts of things, hated it, always hated having my time took away. And that's why I ended up, I guess, in kind of the online world that we inherit. People don't want to know everything else, I guess, but I'm married, got one son, come from a place called Grantham in the UK. And I will tell you a little bit about Grantham, right, just so you guys are aware. It's famous for a couple of things, really, 3 things. One, Issac Newton was born just outside of Grantham, and I actually went to the same school as Issac Newton, you know, who discovered gravity.
Really? Yeah.
That's heavy.
Awesome.
That's heavy, right? Yeah. And then
it's very heavy.
Also, gravity. Do you get what I did there? And then also,
absolutely.
The first female prime minister in Britain was born actually on the same street I used to live on. So that was one claim to fame. And then the other thing, and you can look this up on the internet, so you guys know I'm not lying. It was actually voted the most boring town in Britain 3 years. I think it was 3 years in a row. So now,
why is it the most boring town?
There's nothing to do. So now you will know why I turned to the internet. It was drink, drugs, illicit substances, or the internet. And I chose the internet and the world of online marketing for my sins. So that's where I'm from, and kind of, you know, that's what, up until this point, that's what you need to know. I used to really hate my job, and I'll let you direct the way this is going to go.
Absolutely. So what would you say, like, okay, you're in the online world.
Yeah.
What is your main passion that you love so far, that you bring to the table, that you actually help others? People that are just starting out. What is your main passion? Right. What do you love to do? Okay,
well, I'm gonna kind of answer that by going off on a very short story.
Okay, absolutely.
So you understand the context and why I say it. So here's the thing that happened to me. I worked online. I worked really hard. I used to work long hours, so I used to put a lot of effort in, a lot of sweat equity, as they say, missed a lot of family time and stuff like that. And eventually, Fred, like a lot of people, you get some sort of success if you just keep doing it, if you're stubborn. And when I got to a level of success, not where I'm at now, but just a level of success where I could pay bills from my internet marketing, I wanted to go out there and I wanted to share with the world how I did it. And that's very common. I see you do it. I see a mutual friend of ours, Bob, do it. A lot of people that get successful, they want to share what they've done to help other people. You correct? You with me on that?
Oh, 100%.
It just seemed everybody that gets successful, that's what they want to do. I wanted to shout from the rooftops, guys, I can help you. This is what you do. So I started doing that, thinking I was going to save everybody. And what I found is I could give two people exactly the same product, the same online opportunity, the same training that I had. I could even introduce them to some of the mentors that I've had along the way to get them personal trainings. And I would spend hours showing them exactly what I did. And yet most people wouldn't get anywhere near the level of success, even though I shared exactly what I did. And what has always fascinated me is how come I could give two people exactly the same stuff. One could take it and be successful, and another one couldn't, and end up actually even failing or not even making a sale or whatever. So with that in mind, you'll see why I say my passion now is completely mindset. And that is what I really love to do. I really love to help people break through kind of their limiting beliefs, actually get to a point where they are making some money. And that is why I went off and I studied this thing called NLP.
NLP. What does NLP stand for?
I set you up for that because I knew you'd ask. Neuro Linguistic Programming. And neuro is the brain. Linguistic is language, and P for programming. So it's literally how your brain works. It's how your brain talks to itself, and it's how it does what it does. It's often called the science of success because one of the guys that came up with this whole field of NLP, he actually stayed with a psychiatrist, and he was on a computer programming course, and the lab flooded. I think it was. It actually ended up collapsing. So he was staying with a psychiatrist, had nothing to do. So he started reading the psychiatrist books, and they're full of things like, when somebody has a phobia, this is what happens. When somebody is scared of this is what happens. When somebody has blocks, this is how they make those blocks in their head. This is what they do. And he went to the psychiatrist and said, you've got loads of books that I've read, and they all talk about when people have got a problem, how they do it. Where's the books that tell me how to get around it? And he looked at it and said, there aren't any. There aren't any.
And that's where NLP comes into play.
That's right. That's where it came from. It was that initial idea. Well, if we can study why people get these problems, why they maybe hallucinate and get phobias and do all these bad things, why can't we study people that are successful and find out what they do as well? So he turned the whole thing on his head, and sure enough. So let me just tell you how it worked for me. I actually went and I'd read books and kind of was interested. And it was interesting. It was great. I learned a few things worked. But I actually went and I actually did the course. My good lady wife, Lorraine, said, you know what, we need to do this. And at the time, couldn't really afford it. So we went and I actually learned it. And it was 10 weekends over the course of a year. And for 13 years, where we live now in Cornwall, I love it when Americans say it, Cornwall. So when we actually, we used to come down on here on holiday, Fred, on vacation, and we absolutely loved it. And it was a 13-year long dream. We've been coming for 15 years at the time, and for 13 years of that, every year we said we were going to move, and we never managed it. Could never afford it. Could never sort of make it happen. Within, I think it was 6 lessons in NLP. From that particular weekend, I remember the weekend and what we learned. We moved within 4 months, and I made $124,000 in 4 months.
Fantastic.
From getting my mindset right. Okay, and that just made me even more passionate for it.
Now let me jump in there because mindset, motivation, all that stuff is used very loosely in this and in anything that we see online or listen to. So NLP is a set, like, would you say it's like a scientific method? Would you say it's this is like a psychological method? What would you say? What's the best way of describing NLP?
It's a series of tools to help you. Do you know what? It's always very difficult to give a definition of NLP. One reason, apart from anything else, if something works, NLP takes it and claims it as its own. But it's basically a set of tools to help you change your thinking and your behavior to something that serves you better. So, for example, a friend of mine, she was really scared of clowns. When she was about 7 years old, they went to the circus. Clown came out into the audience and grabbed her mum to pull her into the circle to do like a trick on her. Yeah, part of the fun. Okay, but the 7-year-old girl was like, "Oh my God, they're taking my mum away," right?
Yeah.
She ended up with a phobia of clowns. Honestly, you showed her a picture of a clown, she couldn't take it. Now, normally we don't come across clowns very often in our daily life, do we? So it's not really a problem for most people, but it wasn't a problem for her really until she had kids of her own. And one day they come running out of school all excited. Mummy, we got free tickets to the circus. So she's breaking out in a pool of sweat, right, in front of all the other parents while she's collecting her kids. So then it's a problem. And we got rid of that in 15 minutes.
Really?
15 minutes we got rid of that. And when she the only problem is when she sees a clown now, she laughs harder than anybody else.
So it's funny you say that because my wife has a phobia of people in costumes.
Oh, yeah?
Because when she was younger, I believe it was her cousin, came out, I don't know if it was a Michael Myers or some kind of creepy costume and scared the bejesus out of her. Okay. So she needs to do NLP.
I'll tell you what we'll do, guys. I will do an NLP session for your wife if she wants me to do an NLP session.
Absolutely.
I will do that for you, and then you can let your listeners know in the comments or whatever in this podcast, whatever you do, you can let readers know if it worked or not.
So NLP really helps people conquer their fears.
It helps people conquer their fears, but more than that, and what really helped me, there's a thing in NLP called outcomes. So most people, if you think about a sat nav, if you and me, okay, if we were on this podcast and we asked the audience, how much would you like to make online? What's the average answer as far as you're concerned, Fred? What do you think the most common thing is?
Well, I see a lot of people, especially when they're starting out, for some reason they're saying, I want to make, it's a good thing. I want to make $1 million. I want to make, $2 million.
Yeah.
It's always in the millions.
It's always in the millions. The other one that I get a lot is 10K a month. They seem to be kind of the two. Nobody wants to make 5K a month. Nobody wants to make 20K a month. They want to make 10K or they want to make $1 million, right? They kind of want to be, they're always aiming big. Okay. Now, when I ask them, so what would that mean to you? They go, oh, well, I could quit my job. Okay. Yeah. Well, where would you live? I don't know. I guess I'd get another house. And would you wear the same sort of clothes? And would you eat the same sort of food? And, what would you do? So here's the thing, you see, your brain, if I say to you, Fred, I'm going to ask you listeners as well. Guys, you understand English, don't you, Fred?
Oh, absolutely.
So if I say...
Mostly.
If I say to you, don't, or do not, you understand what that means, correct?
Yes.
Because you understand English. Right, so I'm going to tell you now, whatever you do, Fred, under no circumstances, do not think of a blue elephant with wings flying over the Eiffel Tower in France in the moonlight. What shade of blue was your elephant, Fred?
Yes, you're right. I did. Right when you said that, it came. Okay, so you got me.
So here's the thing: people want to make $1 million. They want to make 10K a month, but they don't know what it means because their brain can't make sense of $10 million or 10,000 a month or $1 million. It can't make sense of it. It has to go and make a picture in its brain of what you want. And unless you are specific, it can't make the picture. Anybody that's got young kids will know, if you tell your young kids, don't go in the kitchen, don't spill your milk, what's likely to happen? The reason is they're making a big picture of spilling their milk in their heads. They're making a big picture of going into the kitchen. And kids are great because they don't have filters. That's why they believe at Christmas time, they believe in certain figures. That may, just in case there's children listening, go ahead.
do you believe it's also involved with self-belief?
100%. So
and NLP helps fight that.
So here we go. So if we work it through, okay, we have a thing called a score model, and it might be relevant to go through that. So the first one, S, stands for symptoms. So with the sat nav, when we talked about, you can't just put in a sat nav. Take me to where do you live, Fred? What city?
Akron, Ohio, home of LeBron James.
Oh, okay, so if I go to the sat nav and put in Ohio, is that going to get me to your house?
No.
So it can't take me there unless I'm specific where I want to go. The other thing is, does the satellite navigation system work unless you know where you are now?
Say it one more time.
So does the satellite navigation system, can it get me to you unless it knows where it is right now?
It does not. It cannot.
It needs two things. So the first thing in the model we use in NLP is called S, and that's for symptoms. That is, where am I now? Am I making enough money? Am I free from my job? Do I have all the knowledge I need? Where am I? Just where am I? That's like the sat nav going, you are here. Where am I? So then we need to know the causes, because unless you know the causes, you can't put them right, can you? So the next thing is, well, I'm stuck in a job I hate. The reason is because I can't afford to get into that business with Fred or Paul or whatever. So that's the cause of it. I don't earn enough money. So you get very clear on your causes. Then what we do, we look at outcomes, and this is where you get incredibly specific about where you want to go. And then, because your brain doesn't understand English, the brain takes information in through the five senses, okay? Through your sight, through sound, through feeling in the body, when you feel excited or you feel depressed or whatever, okay? And by touch. So we need to program the brain, okay, in the same way. So if somebody wants to make $1 million, that's great, that's noble. But you need to know, what will you get? How will you know when you've hit $1 million? Not just by, it could be seeing the numbers in your bank account. That's the visual element. But what will you feel in your body? What will you hear? Will you be in the same house? What sort of food will you eat? Will you drive the same car? You need to think about it, guys, and know your outcome. That's the O. It's the same as a goal, but we call it outcomes, okay? But it goes way beyond.
So to me, it sounds like you're programming someone. Programming is a weird word to say, but you're putting them in that situation before they're even in the situation.
100%, because then the brain can work out how to get you there. We have lots.
Brilliant.
We have lots of tools. So what I find is we often the next one is R, right, and that's resources. And resources is what resources have you got to get you where you want to go, okay? And what resources will you need to get you where you want to go? Now, this is the interesting thing. If you get a newborn baby, it's only scared of two things: loud noise and fear of falling. So if you pick a baby up and you look like you're going to go and drop it, it will try and cling. And if you make a loud noise, it will cry. They're the only two things. If you put a baby in front of a king cobra snake, right, the baby isn't afraid. And babies naturally love themselves. They're fascinated by every part of their body. You've seen a baby look at its feet and its hands and play around. A baby will even play with its own poop, right? It's true. It's true. We're only born with two fears. Everything else? Fear of people in costumes, fear of clowns, fear of doing a Facebook Live video that might help you grow your business. Yeah? All of that is learned. So what the biggest insight I think I had in NLP and what people do is they do it to themselves. They go down these ruts. They get stuck in these grooves. We call them strategies in NLP. And people are naturally confident. It gets knocked out of them as they grow up. Have you ever said to your kids, anybody listening, think about this. If you've ever said to your kids, so listen, when we get there, you be good now. If you've ever said anything like that, what does that mean? It means for them to have to be good, they must be bad. When you get there, you be good. So before you get there, you're going to be bad. But yeah, that's the presupposition, isn't it? That assumes, if you're telling me when I get there I have to be good, that assumes that you expect me to be bad. Maybe I'm bad.
Very true.
How do we screw our kids up? And how many times do you tell your kids no because you love for them and you care for them? How many times do you tell your kids no compared with, yeah, go for it, you're doing great, fantastic? It true. Yeah, and that's one thing I've always tried to instill in my son is positive reinforcement, and it can definitely when you say you're trained, being trained, it's like more so you're being trained by the world and the world's habits. Yeah, you're definitely affected. And like I say, up until the age of about 7, 8, you have no filters in your brain that's why you believe in monsters under the bed as a kid. It's why you can pick a stick up as a boy. I'm sure a lot of boys have done it. You pick a stick up as a young child and it's a stick. But 30 seconds later, it's a submachine gun and it's making all the noises and you're you're saving the world against the bad guys and it's all like really real in your head. That's because you don't have the same filters you have as an adult. So unfortunately, your parents, your grandparents, your teachers, your religious authority figures, everything that goes on around you kind of programs you at an age when you're most vulnerable. And we also learn to be victims. If you think about it, when you're born, you're helpless, right? So your parents quite rightly have to take care of you. So not only do they do everything for you, they wipe your backside for you, they feed you, they clean you. They'll also entertain you and make goo-goo. They'll entertain you while they're doing it. So you become reliant on them. And as you go through life, what happens is you have to go to school and you have teachers tell you what to do and headmasters and headmistresses. And then you go to college and you've got people telling you what to do. And eventually you get a job and you've got a boss telling you what to do. And it's no wonder we go through life programmed this way to kind of be, think it's the world has an effect on us and we have no effect on the world. The best way I heard it put is we tend to be the thermostat, the thermometer. We tend to be the thermometer rather than the thermostat. We should be the thermostat. We should kick in and we should dictate our environment. And in that SCORE model I mentioned, SCORE, symptoms, causes, outcomes, resources, the E stands for effects. When I've done it, what will the effects be? But the biggest insight, Fred, I want people to know is you are born confident. You can do it. It's just that you've been told no a lot through your life, okay? You've had stuff happen to you. You've had bosses tell you what to do, okay? You've had religious people tell you what to do. You've had peer pressure from other people around you. You've learned. You've had it knocked out of you. NLP really doesn't build you up. It just removes all the bull crap that you've had in your life that took it away. And that was a massive... Go ahead. It
basically takes you out of your identity into your essence.
Yeah.
Of who you really are.
Who you really are before all that stuff changed you. We're all naturally confident at times. A lot of people, I'm involved with Forex trading big time. And one of the things with that is consistency. And a lot of people say, I'm just not consistent. And I say, do you brush your teeth every day? And they go, well, yeah. When you've been to, I like to be I like to kind of shock people out of the matrix. So I'll say, when you go to the toilet, do you wipe your backside? And they go, well, yeah, every time. Of course I do. Oh, so you're consistent. Do you have breakfast every day? Yeah, you're consistent. See, we all do it. We all do these things. We are consistent. We are naturally confident. We're confident when we go and make a cup of coffee. We're confident doing that, aren't we? And NLP can help you tap into that as well and adapt it and take it into other areas of your life, like maybe building a business, whatever it is you want to do.
Now, you said that NLP helped after the 6th week.
Yes.
Or 6th visit.
Yeah.
Help transform your mindset.
Yes.
If you don't mind me asking, how old were you when you started doing NLP?
I wish I'd done it a lot earlier. So, I would have been 48.
Okay, so 48 years old. You had 48 years of programming.
Yes.
And in 6 sessions, you said?
Yeah, 6 weekends.
6 weekends, you completely flipped the switch.
Yes.
That's amazing. So I know that we had talked about before doing the interview that you are going to be able to introduce them a little bit deeper into NLP, because I know that it's a lot deeper than what we're talking about, correct?
Yeah. And, some of it is, we're on a podcast, so it's difficult to I can't show stuff. So the visual element, and most, 70% of people are visual. We do visual a lot. So I'm going to do what I can. So
you have something that we're going to give. I'm going to actually put on the show notes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
A link that they can go to, that they can learn more about it.
I've got an introduction to NLP, guys. So if you go, it's my blog. It's on my blog, therealpaulturner.com. And on the right-hand side in the sidebar, or maybe underneath if you're on your phone, but Fred's going to put the link in. And I've actually got an intro to NLP. And if you're interested, you can go and read a bit more about it, what it means, what it can do for you. And then I've actually got a course you can go and check out. But that intro, absolutely free. There's some good stuff in there that will help you make sense of all this.
I will definitely have the link on there. And if you do go on to therealpaulturner.com, you scroll down, it's under Mindset Help, and it has Paul with his hand up. And definitely, you guys want to take advantage of that. I have had phobias. I have had built-in fears. I have had fears to where I didn't want to go live because of I didn't. First of all, a lot of it's holding on to the past of what happened to you in the past.
Yep.
And that's dangerous because that can hold you back, so much. And it took me, 40, geez Louise,
Wow.
to finally get to where I was brave enough to actually take the step outside of my job. That was in 2012. So I was, I can't do the math right now, but it's 2020. I'm 46. If I know, like you said, I wish I would have done it earlier. If I had known then what I know now, it's that thing. So if you are listening to this, take advantage of that, because you do not want to live the status quo. You do not want to live under the false, I guess you could say it's like false comfort of the life you live in when it could be so much better.
Well, the thing is, a lot of people have read the book Think and Grow Rich. It's a classic. A lot of people are into self-development. There's so many people that have read it, they're not rich. If it was as simple as reading a book, it would be great. But what happens is, like you just mentioned there, I love what you just said, stuff from the past. So what your brain does, anytime you get in a situation, your brain is trying to help you, and it does a wonderful job of pulling up things from the past to keep you safe. We have a thing called a psycho-cybernetic system in our heads, and its job is to keep you safe. Have you heard that expression, better the devil you know?
No, I have not. Say it again.
Better the devil you know.
No.
Oh, wow.
I have
Okay.
not.
So it must be an English thing. So we have an expression, and it's like, okay, look, I'm not happy in my job, but if I go to this other job or I do this online marketing thing, I might get scammed. And I had a family who's got a friends, dogs, uncles, cousins, sisters, brothers, twice removed ex-wife's friend says that they tried something like this and it was a scam. So even though I'm not happy where I am, maybe better the devil you know. I know this devil, I'll stick with this devil, I'll stay here. And I think a lot of people are in that sort of groove. They're unhappy, but they're not unhappy enough. That book, Think and Grow Rich, was written in the Great Depression. People literally couldn't afford to eat. Now I get people tell me they're broke. Go and check them out on Facebook. Check out their profile. 2 cars on the drive. They've got a cell phone. They've got an iPad. They've got a computer. They've got internet access. They can watch films anytime they want. If we were not in lockdown at the minute, I don't know what it's like in the States, but even now, I can get Chinese cuisine, Indian cuisine, Mexican cuisine. And I live in a little village in Cornwall. I can get cuisine from all around the world anytime I want. Okay, just from
Same here.
Going to the local Chinese takeaway, and people tell me they're broke. We're not actually that broke. We're not that unhappy, really, are we? They're everything we've got. So what happens is you think, well, I would like to maybe improve my life, and I'd like to give this a go, and I'd like to have a recurring income like Paul and Fred, and I'd like to be able to make money anytime I want with my own skill, but I'm doing this because what happens is your psycho-cybernetic system helps. It's like an autopilot, and it wants to keep you safe. Anything out of the norm isn't safe. So what it does is it does a great job of pulling up things from the past and say, hey, do you remember when you tried to do that and you failed? And it could be when you were a kid. Do you remember when that person said that? You'll never amount to anything. That was put in years ago. And what we do with NLP in that case is like with the phobias, okay? When there's a specific event, like you mentioned with your wife there, what we do is we change that memory. We reprogram that memory. We change the colors. We change the size of the image. We put different sounds in. We do all sorts of things. I've had people laughing at their phobias. That it was a phobia to start with. 15 minutes later, they are laughing at their phobias. We reprogram it, and then you got your whole life to move forward without that baggage holding you back.
So that part of your brain basically rationalizes why you shouldn't do it.
Exactly. And it's trying to keep you safe. It's doing a great job. We shouldn't be angry with it. It's trying to do a great job. But it's recognizing it and then, realizing that it's not actually helping you anymore, and either doing some NLP, getting some help. And you can just, if you keep reading self-development, you can do it. You can do it eventually. But like I say, so many people have read Think and Grow Rich. So many people have read Anthony Robbins' books, and they're still exactly where they are. It's like diet books. I always use the example of diet books. How easy is it to lose weight, Fred?
Oh, it's simple. No, it's not. Not at all.
It is. You eat less calories than you burn. So if you eat less and you move more, you'll lose weight. Well, unless you've got an underlying medical condition maybe, but for 99.9% of people, if you put less calories in than you burn, you're going to lose weight because your body will use the fat reserves. Everybody knows it. How many diet books are there? How many diet DVDs, exercise DVDs? How many pills can you buy? How many potions? How many lotions? Yeah. It's because it's easy. It's so easy, but it's not because you want to eat the cake.
And that's, are you kidding? Are you doing NLP to me right now with dieting? That's amazing.
I could do.
Well, no, you made a good point. It's like we have it right in front of us.
Yeah.
We know what we have to do.
Yeah.
But something, whether it be like, for instance, if it's dieting, gluttony is going to hold us back from getting to where we want to, or laziness.
Yeah. A lot of people know that. I mean, I say to a lot of people, you do Facebook Lives, build your business. Without a doubt, Facebook Lives is what has built my business. Give me a nice 6-figure recurring income. Okay. And I tell people, this is what I do a Facebook Live. And do you know, when they ask people their fears, did you know that fear of public speaking comes above actual fear of dying? So you're better off in the coffin at the eulogy rather than giving the eulogy.
And it's crazy because why is that? It's literally, it's a self-image thing.
People don't want to look stupid. I don't give a crap. I don't give a crap.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely, and my first, I would say, honestly, I've been doing this for 10 years now. My first 5-6 years, I was trying to do videos, and I would literally record a full video, watch it over, pick myself apart, and then delete it.
I've done it.
And then do it again, and then delete it.
Yeah.
And if I would have just put it out there, I would have gotten better. And now, and I do have some out there, I actually go back to and say, I look at myself and I'm like, wow, you've come a long way from back then to now because you really started to stay consistent. But it was not easy by any means. So that's, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it reminded me of that joke, actually. How do you get a fat person off their diet?
How?
Piece of cake.
You are a trip, brother. So, what time of the day, with NLP, do you is it something that you use every day? You wake up and how do you get your day rolling with using NLP?
Well, okay, there's various things you can do, but listen, NLP practitioners, they're human like everybody else. And my wife did really interesting, actually. My wife did the course with me, and thank God we did it together because we were the only couple. 3 of the people on the course actually left their partners.
Whoa!
Because it gave they realised they were on a different path, and it kind of gave them the confidence to do it. Me and Lorraine, very much together, and some of the other people, by the way, they got much stronger as couples. I don't want you to think that NLP will get you divorced, okay? But it gave people that personal freedom. But I will say is we are still people, and sometimes we'll walk around, me and Lorraine, and we'll go, oh, I've got this pain, and we'll remember to say, the other person will say, well, have you used that NLP exercise to help get rid of that pain? Oh, no, I haven't, So it is about catching yourself. So one of the things that I do, I don't consciously, Fred, wake up and go, oh, you know what, today I'm going to do NLP for this and do NLP for that. A lot of the things, like I say, if you change the past in your head, we have a saying in NLP, it's never too late to have a happy childhood. If you change the things in the past, they stop affecting you now and in the future. So you kind of can deal with it. It's like my friend with the clowns. She laughs at clowns now. She doesn't have to get up every day and consciously do anything. So one thing that I am very aware of, though, is something called anchors. We call it anchors in NLP. Have you heard of Pavlov's dogs?
I've heard Pavlov.
Yeah.
But Pavlov's dogs?
Pavlov's dogs. But just in case anybody hasn't heard of them, basically, Russian scientist Pavlov fed his dogs, and he'd noticed his dogs would salivate every time he went to feed them. Okay. So he was interested in psychology, and he was interested in something called conditioned response, which we now call anchors. So what he did is every time he fed his dogs and they would salivate, he'd ring a bell. And it got to the point where he could just ring the bell and the dogs would salivate. He didn't need to have any food around. He'd get a physical reaction in the dogs just by ringing the bell. Okay, conditioned response. And I'll tell you how I really understood them before I actually did the NLP course, right? Was when I used to work, I used to travel to a place called Peterborough. It's about a 25 mile journey from my house. And as I was approaching, it was a computer shop I used to work in. I used to sell computers. And as they'd done some road repairs. And as you drove down the road towards the store, the roadworks meant that the car made a noise as the tires went over, and it went and the only reason I remember it is because if you watch Terminator 2, that's the music.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, that sounds just like it. I was thinking the same thing.
And that was the only reason I remember it, right? That's the only reason it stood out, because, that's a bit like Terminator 2, as your tires went over. And it was also coincidentally just before the store, so it was time when you'd like check your name badge, maybe comb your hair, check your look in the mirror as you drive into the car park, right? So anyway, leave that job. Right. And it was about 4 years later, I was back in Peterborough for something. And I thought, do you know what? I'll pop in and see my old store where I used to work. So I'm driving along and all of a sudden, and I went to check my name badge for a job that I'd freaking left 4 years ago.
That's crazy. So it's a trigger.
It's a trigger. And we say fire an anchor. So it's like you pull the trigger, you fire it. Okay. So how many times have you smelt something and it's taking you straight back to a previous time?
Numerous times.
And the smell goes straight into your brain. There's no filters. That's why smell is very powerful in terms of like taking you back somewhere. And it's the same. Sometimes you see something, it reminds you, and you feel the way you did, you act like the way you did, it takes you straight back. Now, it's also why when you have an argument with somebody sometimes, and you can make up, but when you see them again, you're still really cross and you can't really work out why. It's because anchors are done, they're installed, it's called installed, either by repetition, i.e. me driving to that place of work 5 days a week. I want to comb my hair now. So it's either repetition and or strong emotional intensity, like an argument. And the example I always give is if you put your hand in a flame, how long does it take you to work out not to do it again? Only once, right?
Yes.
Strong emotional intensity because it bloody hurts. Now, I'll tell you a story about a Forex trader that I had, and he was basically, he was trading with a friend. They were doing it together because his friend was he had sight problems, okay? So he could barely see the screen. So guess which one of them was going to be doing all the trading, right? Because it wasn't just his money, he was scared of trading because he didn't want to lose his friend's money. So it was a real problem for him. And I pointed out to him that when you go and you sit at the same desk and you look at the same computer every day in, day out, and you've got that fear of trading or fear of doing it on Facebook Live or not taking the actions to build your business or whatever, that in itself can become an anchor, okay? So you sit at the chair, he naturally felt kind of a little bit down on himself before he'd even started, right? So what we did is I got him to change his desk around. He moved the monitor around. And I said to him, if you could trade successfully, what would it be like for you? And he said, well, I'd be a happy bunny. So I made him go out to a toy shop and buy a stuffed rabbit. And he put that on his desk. Last time I spoke to him, 76.4% win rate from being too scared to trade. Just by putting a toy rabbit on his desk. So he associated being a happy bunny
and moving his desk
and changing a few things around to break the anchor. It's crazy. That's amazing. Isn't it? NLP's crazy.
I want to go back to something you said, and because I have friends, and this actually hit me. This actually hit me in a weird way. But you said it's never too late to have a happy childhood. That is amazing, fantastic saying. Because a lot of people, and I was blessed to have great parents, but a lot of people I know had it rough. And they always go back to that. And that's their anchor, obviously.
Yeah. Okay. So
that's just amazing.
So one of the things you can do real quick demo for you. Your listeners, I'm assuming you're going to do this at home, but obviously I can only talk to you, Fred. So Fred, can you think of a food that you really like to eat?
Yes.
Okay, so this will work for dieting as well, by the way, but it's a good example to use food. So how much out of 10 would you want to eat that food now?
I'd say about a 7.
About a 7. I want you to make a nice big vivid picture of that food.
I'm looking at it right now.
Okay, I want you to make the picture bigger. and make the colours brighter.
Oh, it's there.
Now, how much do you want to eat it now?
Probably about 9, 10.
So it's gone up. So now what I want you to do, make the picture smaller, let the colour drain from it so it goes black and white, and make the picture smaller again, and now make the picture that you're thinking of that food, make it a bit fuzzy, like you've changed the focus, so it's a bit blurry. How appealing is it now?
About a 5.
See, it's coming down. Same with, by the way, put the colour back in, Fred. Make the picture the right size again. I don't want you to not want to eat that food. If we'd spent another 2 minutes, Fred would actually almost be repulsed by that food. Okay, and we can do that. Now, it's the same with your childhood, guys. Maybe you've got incidents in your childhood that make you unhappy, and you will see a picture of that play in your brain. Might be a movie, might be a still. Try playing it backward. Let it go black and white. Make all the characters in that movie a cartoon rather than remembering it as real life. Put a different soundtrack in it. Do anything like that to change that memory and reprogram it. And then you can take the sting out of the unhappy stuff. Now, we all had points in our childhood where we were happy. Guess what? Like we did with Fred with the food there, and it was more appealing when he made the picture bigger and brighter. And you can increase any sounds that are in there. You can put a nice soundtrack in. You can put music that you find uplifting. And that's something I do a lot with the phobia stuff. I actually get people to give me a guilty pleasure pop tune or something. And we play that over the experience, and they associate that cheesy pop music with the phobia, and it just takes the sting out of it.
That's incredible. Guys, take advantage of what he's going to be giving away. Just take a look at it. I think this can help a ton of people. Obviously, it's helped Paul out with his business, and I think it's fantastic. I want to switch gears a little bit.
There we go.
And I really appreciate you gave some really, really golden nuggets as far as NLP, and I want them to dive into what you have to offer. So check out the show notes. So what do you wish you had known before you start out in your online business?
What do I wish I'd known? That I could do it, that I could totally do it. And that basically, guys, I wish I'd realized this sooner. People will respect you for giving it a go. They won't laugh at you and judge you. You only think they're judging you because of all the bullshit that has been, the BS that you've been fed. All the BS that you've been fed. Okay. It's all BS. Most people don't judge you like you think they judge you. Most people actually respect you for giving it a go.
How long did it take you to see success?
Oh, probably from that's a good question. I can't remember the exact dates, but it would probably be at least, I would say probably at least 4 years of work. I used to work long hours, to be fair, but yeah, 4 years probably before I saw some success. Then I kind of just dallied along at that for a little while. And like a lot of people, I think you go from one business to another. It's not the business, guys. It's you. I'll tell you now.
Wow. I love it. So if you could give somebody brand new, I think you basically said it, but let's say it in this one statement. I'm brand new. What advice would you give me when I'm starting online?
First of all,
what direction would you send me?
Forward. Just as long as you're moving forward. As long as you're moving forward. Here's the biggest thing, guys, right? There's so many times I've just moved forward without knowing what the hell I'm doing. What was it? Bob Proctor always talks about this. Kennedy wanted to put Americans on the moon. So he got I think it was the guy who was the chief scientific advisor or something. And he said to him, what would it take to put Americans on the moon? And he said, the strong desire to do it. That's all. That's all you need. The strong desire to do it. I can't tell you the amount of times I've just moved forward, even though I don't know what I'm doing. I know my end goal. I know what I want to do. It's my outcome. I know what I want to do. I know what my next outcome is. Right? I've got a picture on my wall that represents my outcome. So I see it every freaking day. I know what I want to do. How I'm going to get there, I don't know how to do that. Right? I don't know how to get there yet. What's the difference between where I am now here and where I want to be over there? What's the difference between here and there? T. That's the only difference between those words, here and there. The only difference is the word T. It stands for travel. It's a journey. We have a saying, the map is not the territory. I know where I want to go, and I can try and put a plan in place and I can move forward, but I don't know the territory. And what I will promise you guys, and this is an absolute promise from me, if you move forward, even though the videos may not be perfect, even though the blog post might not be perfect, if that's what you want to do, even if you talk to people and you completely screw it up, and I've done that a lot of times, I've made loads of mistakes. Get over making the mistakes. Don't worry about it, because you're not losing, you're gaining experience. The more you do, the more you screw up, the more experience you gain. As long as you keep moving forward, and appreciate and accept, you owe it to yourself to make some mistakes, because that's how you learn. Good things will come. I didn't know Fred was going to come into my life. Fred's an awesome guy. He's great at building funnels. He's a great resource. In NLP, we call it a resource. Sounds awful to say that guy's a resource, okay? But Fred does great work. This podcast is great. I listen to some of the podcasts, and he gets great people on. No pressure for me then. It's like, Jesus, I got to do something good here. Now, I didn't know that was going to happen. I didn't know I was going to meet Bob. I didn't know that I was going to meet one of the top leaders in the company who would do trainings for me, and something I do. I didn't know I was going to discover this strategy. I didn't know somebody was going to program this amazing piece of software for us in the Forex trading. I didn't know that NLP was going to be such a big part of my life moving forward. I didn't know any of that when I started out, guys. I just had the strong desire to get there. And sorry, I've rambled on, Fred, but that is so important.
No, you're fine.
You move forward, guys, even if it's not perfect, even if it's not right. Move. I promise you, you'll have good times, you'll have bad times, but I promise you, stuff will come into your life if you keep doing it consistently that you could never have expected, that will move you far forward than you would ever know.
You already got, I had the last question I was going to ask you before the super hyper fast Q&A round, like I told you about, is I said, is there one thing you could tell listeners that you feel could help them tremendously in life? What would that be? And obviously that is move forward.
Move forward.
And just move forward.
I would also try and get you out of the matrix. I say that a lot to people. I'm trying to get people out of the matrix. You got to realize most of the stuff you do, guys, listen, fold your arms for me real quick. Do it, Fred. Fold your arms.
I'm doing it.
Look down. I bet you have one hand over one arm and one hand tucked in, correct?
Yes, I do.
Okay, that's what 99.9% of people do. Quick as you can, reverse that. Do it the other way around.
I just did it again.
How easy is it?
Pretty easy.
You can do it, but is it just an instant like it is like doing it the normal way?
No. I was fumbling a little bit.
Yeah, most people fumble, and actually I could hear you do it. Most people do it actually a lot slower than you. So you're obviously good. But my point is, guys, you have what's called a strategy for doing that. You have a strategy for folding your arms. You have a strategy for how you think about money. Okay, you have a way of doing it that you fold your arms, Fred, because that is most likely the way that your parents do it, or you saw somebody do it the first time you learned it from them. You have a strategy for your self-belief, for your self-confidence, for how you feel about money, for how you feel about success. And you got to remember, 95% of what we do is subconscious. You don't think about how you fold your arms. You don't think about, have you ever driven anywhere, right? And you've been in the car an hour and you get where you're going. You're like, oh, I'm here already. How did that happen?
A lot.
You've been in charge of a car. You could kill people. You could mow them down, and you're not aware of what you're doing. How scary is that? But you do it.
Paul, my son says that I'm a terrible driver, and so does my wife. So, and a lot of my friends. But yes, 100%, you get into a mode. Absolutely.
So you guys just need to realize that all of this has been put in without your consent. So it's time to get out of the matrix and wake up and realize that a lot of the way you do things isn't necessarily your way of doing things. It's stuff that you've picked up and has been programmed in by peer pressure, by authority figures, at a time when you were young and vulnerable and didn't have any adult filters to be able to determine what you want to do yourself. Once you realize that, you can start working on that, and trust me, life opens up tremendously.
Beautiful, man. I'm just, you've been so knowledgeable, man, and it's great. So I really want people to take advantage of that. So I will put the link for NLP, and we're going to have more information on Paul, obviously, in the show notes. So make sure you visit winwithfred.com for the show notes. What are you working on right now? I know you said, I actually know this, but I have to ask this question like this. I know we talked about Forex. I'm doing Forex as well. what are you working on as far as Forex?
Okay, so the reason that I'm very passionate about the Forex side of things is because so many people in the world of online business, network marketing, if I see this, so if I have a Facebook ad and Fred has a Facebook ad and Fred is very successful and I'm struggling, Fred could say to me, hey, Paul, don't worry about it. I'll give you my ad. I'll give you my funnel. I'll give you my audience. So you've got everything that I've got. Fred's ad could work brilliantly and mine could fall flat on its face, but for no apparent reason. It's the same ad, it's the same picture, everything could be the same. And I found I got very burnt out and very frustrated that I couldn't save the world. When I said I got success, I wanted to share it. So a mutual friend introduced me to this guy, and he said, look, he's making money just off his phone. And I'm like, yeah, well, that's a scam. That's a total scam. And because it was a mutual friend, I kind of had to take the call, so I took the call. And it was Forex trading. And I had preconceived ideas. And thankfully, I was open-minded enough to actually just look a bit more. And I did. And what I found is that your bank trades Forex. So if anybody says Forex is a scam, get your money out of the bank, because your banks trade Forex. It's just that they give you very little of the money they make back to you in the form of interest. So I had a look at it. I had some money from an affiliate program. I said, well, I'll give it a go. And I actually ended up doubling my money in 20 days. Then I was sold. Now, what I will say, guys, to be open and honest with you, is I lost most of that money in the second month because I didn't fully knew what I was doing, and it is not advisable to go for that. But over the course of the last 3 years, I've really developed it with a group, and we have got very simple strategies that are newbie friendly. You will never be scammed because you are putting the trades on yourself. And what I love about it, it's a level playing field. A Forex trade, if it goes up for Fred, it goes up for me. It goes up for everybody around the world at exactly the same time. It is completely level playing field. The other thing is there's zero competition. And what we do in our group is we trade live every day up to 7 hours. If you want to take my trades, take them. It doesn't affect what my outcome whatsoever, because it's a $6.6 trillion a day industry. If you think... Even if you're putting thousands in, if you think that's going to affect the markets, you're wrong. People like me and Fred, we make up about 20% of the total market. And if we all took the same trade, it wouldn't make a dent in what goes on. So I'm very passionate about that because I see so many people struggling to make money online. And, I have to give the disclaimer here. This is a mathematical formula I'm going to tell you now. It's not real life. But if you go and with a calculator, if you take $100 and you add 3%, and then you add 3% on top of that, and then you add 3% on top of that, and you add 3% on top of that, and you do that 240 times, your $100 turns into $120,000. Now, that is the math. That's the magic of compounding, 3% on 3% on 3%. Excuse me, I just need the water. Excuse me. So
that's a good question. I'm going to get water too now.
Yeah, get water. It's catching, guys. It's catching. So... that will not happen because we do not win every trade. My current win rate at the minute is 9 out of 10. Okay, so I'm going to lose the odd trade here and there. But the game is how close can you get? And what I say to people is, listen, if you did a 10th of that, if you turned 100 into 12K in a year, would that be okay? And they're like, yeah, because next year, rather than start with 100, you're starting with 12K, and then you don't. I'm not even going to tell you what the numbers work out on that. Now, again, it isn't to tell you that's what you're going to do, guys. Let me just make that clear. But what it is there to show you is that even if you're in a network marketing business, I know 95% of people, the official figure is, so I think it's more like 98% of people in network marketing don't actually make anywhere near the money they want to make. But if you could make $100, you could compound it with Forex. You're just a customer. It doesn't affect anything you do. There's no conflict. 92% of the people in our group, they're customers only, although there is an option to refer and get free service. You can actually get the tools that we use, you can actually get it for free. So, but the main reason I'm passionate about it is you can do it from a phone. You can do it locked in a garage. You don't need to speak to anybody. You don't need to sell anything. You don't need to refer anybody. You just need to get good at reading the charts. And we do that with very simple strategies, up to 7 hours a day as a group. So that's why I love Forex.
Now, I'm going to jump in there and say I am actually a part of this. And it's crazy because one thing I really respect about Paul is on one of his lives, he said the biggest problem people have is they don't listen to the trades. They trade too much. Now, there's a story behind this. When I first started doing this, I put I put $200 in, and I started doing it on my own. And I went up to like $500 within 2 days. I was like, this is crazy.
Well done.
But remember you said 3%. That's 3% of, I got greedy.
Yeah.
And then what I did was I made a trade, and I sincerely did not realize I was doing $6 and something cents a pip. So this thing starts going way backwards. I don't like losing. So what did I do? I'm like, I'm going to hold on tight. It's a wild ride. So then my smart self, I'll be nice, decides to try to reverse that. And I bought the other way.
Yeah. And then it turned around, I bet.
well, here's the problem. I didn't realize that brokers, it's a percentage that if you go below a certain percentage, they'll close out your trades. So out of nowhere, I was down like $90 and boom, they closed out that trade.
Yeah.
Because my equity wasn't there. I lost it all within 2 days not because of, anything else, but me being greedy, me trying to fight. I would say I was fighting the numbers back and forth. It was so stupid. And I wasn't, it was a good learning experience for me. So what did I do? I put more money back in, and now I'm doing it the 3% rule, and it's working. I had 3 wins yesterday, and it's a blast doing it. I'm actually addicted to it. So I have a lot of fun doing it. So we're going to have that information in the show notes.
Could you imagine going to a job, and the more hours you worked and the more you put in, the less they paid you?
No.
So that's Forex. There's this weird thing with Forex, guys, that it's actually not about the money. The money is the side effect. And what most people do is they chase the money with it. It's actually the consistency. The money is the side effect of being consistent. But guess what? Plays right into the mindset thing. What you will find is most successful Forex traders, they have a limit. And when they hit the limit, they stop trading that account. And then they might go to another account, or they might go on demo. So they're not using real money. So they're practicing and gaining experience. But when my trading was up, down, up, down, up, down, when I started just going for 3% a day, and when I made my 3%, I walked away. Okay? And there are various things we do in our group that means you can often get more than that with various things, that manage some of the trades for you to a degree. Okay. But through that completely changed my trading. And let's just say it's going very well, since I actually, less is more, one trade, 3%. I'm often done before breakfast. It's amazing. So it's like going to that job where you're like, I want to work more. And they're going, okay, well, we'll pay you less. Because the second trade, after you've done your target, guess what? That will be the one that loses. It's always the way. And if you lose the first one, guess what? You've got all day to take another trade. So it's very, very true. And I will say, guys, if you like the idea of Forex trading and you've liked the NLP stuff I've talked about, we're recording this at the start of June. Last month, I actually did 5 bonus sessions completely free of charge for our trading group, and the feedback has been amazing, right? So I actually did 5 NLP sessions to help stop people over trading, to help them be consistent, to help them manage their money better. We did all sorts of things, okay? And it crossed over into life skills and stuff like that as well. But it was very rewarding. I got loads of great comments. And if you're interested, you could actually get access to all that NLP training if you want to get into the Forex side of stuff. So like Fred will say, Fred says he'll put a link to what we do in the show notes. That would be awesome. Check it out. And I'm all about mindset money marketing. Okay. I want to help people get a recurring income with the marketing. I want to help them make money with compounding, with Forex, and mindset is obviously the NLP. That's what I'm all about. 3 M's. I'm M&M.
And seriously, it's going to be in the show notes. I'm very skeptical, fam, about anything somebody comes to me with when it comes to like online marketing. It works. And the cool thing is you can literally get a demo account and just have fun with it. See if it works. And if it doesn't work for you, if you don't feel it works, which I know it does, But if it doesn't work for you, you don't have to do it. But you can have fun just playing with a demo account. So we'll have all the information in the show notes because you definitely want to take advantage of that, especially if you want, you can literally have a side source of income doing this. And it does work. So, and they go over all the rules with you, the do's and don'ts, and obviously don't overextend yourself like I did and make money and then lose it in 2 days. It's a terrible feeling.
Can I say something there, Fred? What you said about they give you all the do's and don'ts and everything. Do you know what, guys? If you think about it, most people in an online business, the things that people are short of, the excuses you always get are time and money. I don't have the time. I don't have the money. Okay, that's what always comes up. So what happens is, people like me and Fred, Fred does this, no, we're very helpful. We're very well-meaning. So we say, yeah, we've got the solution. It's this training course. Go and watch this video. It's like 2 hours long. Or get through this course and stuff like that. So for all those people that are like, well, I don't have time and money, what we're actually doing is we're actually giving you another problem in terms of time because we're giving you a whole training to watch, okay? And that can't always be helped. So what we do inside the Forex group, we can take care of your money. You can start with a small amount. We can take care of that. That's not a problem, okay? We can take care of that. And you can actually get access to the tools and stuff we do for free if you're willing to refer a couple of people. So we take care of the money that way. But in terms of the training, we understand you've got to learn some stuff. But since we did the live sessions, we get newbies. I was told 90 days when I started. It will take you 90 days before you're probably sort of starting to see success. We had somebody, they're 3 weeks in, their first day, they won 3 out of 3 trades. Their first day live trading, 3 out of 3. And that just 3 weeks. We had somebody yesterday, I think it was, posted it was their first week in and they were already winning trades because we've got rid of that. You have to go and watch all this training. You can get on the live trading sessions with us from day one. And you might not understand it all, but you can get your questions answered and you can place trades. And that has been the biggest thing we've done. Yeah. Oh, yeah, we have a laugh as well. It's fun.
It's fun. And literally, it's real. So definitely, it'll all be in the show notes. Paul, you're awesome. But guess what? It's time for the super hyper fast Q&A round.
I'm dreading this because I don't know what's coming.
It's going to be simple. You got this. So just a few questions. Do you sleep with your sheets tucked in or out?
Out.
Why?
So I can easily waft some cool air in if I get too hot.
Same here. Same here. Easy question, right? Easy question. If you could choose your own nickname, what name would it be?
The Paulternative.
The Paulternative.
There you go.
I like that. That's cool. That's cool. What's your favorite kind of cereal?
I don't really eat cereal, but I would say, what's it called? Just Right. There's a cereal here called Kellogg's Just Right, and it's kind of got a bit of fruit in it, a bit of dried fruit. It's got a few nuts, and it's got a few like cornflakes in.
So you don't like Lucky Charms?
We don't. They're very, very expensive over here because it's not a normal thing that we have. It gets imported from the States, so it's very expensive, and it's full of numbers.
It's really not good for you.
I was going to say
really not good for you either.
They can't be good for you either.
But it is magically delicious. So, and last but not least, your favorite action hero on movies.
Oh, in movies?
Yes.
Oh man, I was going to say $6 Million Man, Batman, because he's a real man. He's not got superpowers. He's a real man. He uses his intellect and his resources, as we would say in NLP, to be awesome.
That's amazing. Love the answer. Brother, I sincerely appreciate you coming on today. Thank you so much for all the knowledge, and I am looking forward to putting all the links in the show notes. Guys, take action with it and really consume what he has to offer. And he's giving it away. Okay, to give it to you so you can actually learn, get a head start in the NLP, figure out what that is, and then we'll have some information on the trading, and then I'll have some contact information if you want to somehow, some way contact him. We'll have that all in the show notes. Paul, thank you so much. I truly appreciate you. You have been a fantastic guest. You dropped a lot of golden nuggets. And thank you so much for being on the Freddy O Show.
Well, thank you for breaking my podcast cherry.
You are absolutely welcome. You're a rock star, brother.
Cheers, Fred.
Cheers,
Fred. Thank you.
Amazing show today, fam. So much fun having Paul on today. Plus, he delivered amazing value. Thank you to you as well for tuning in to today's episode of the Freddy O Show. Also, you want to make sure to head over to winwithfred.com to check out the show notes, snag all that Paul has to offer today, plus all of his contact info. He is the real deal. Last but not least, visit winwithfred.com/FMA to become a member of the new Facebook group I have, the Funnel Mastery Alliance. I know you will absolutely love it. Tons of value going to be back there, so definitely head back there. So, episode number 4 is in the books, and it was a great one. This is Freddy O, and until next time, my friends, stay hungry.